Hey, hi, good evening, everyone. How are you? It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. Welcome to the show. I, of course, am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you loud and clear and live on a Wednesday evening. It's just me and my little old self tonight. Kyle's got family stuff happening, so we are on pause for that. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. Jess, good to see you. I hope you're very well. Thank you for stopping by. Dying Breed Tabletop, Jack Neller, good to see you. By the way, I'm a big fan of your brother Van Eller. Mr. B plays Great Old Ones. Hello, hello, hello. Damien X247. Hello, hi. But anyway, I'm glad you're all here. I'm glad everybody's here tonight. We're just kind of hanging out. We're just sort of chilling tonight. We're gonna talk TTRPG stuff. We're going to talk about CROM because I have an announcement to make. It's not about CROM, but it is also about CROM, and we'll get to that shortly. Joe Kaufman, good to see you. Hello. But I apologize for the late start. I could not find reading glasses, and I have discovered that I cannot really see the monitors when they're this close to my face, so I have to have reading glasses. I have been missing this pair for months. My wife knew where they were. She thought I knew where they were, so I was running around looking for a different pair this evening, and I said, have you seen my reading glasses? Because that's something that you do when you reach my age. You ask your significant other if they've seen your reading glasses, and she said, well, no, I haven't, but could you just use the pair that you keep in this drawer? And I said, I keep a pair in that drawer? And she said, yes, I thought you just kept them there for purpose of being able to get to them when you're in there. And I forgot. I thought they were like over here at my desk. They're black plastic frames or dark gray plastic frames. I got these from Squirrel Hermit at GaryCon in 2023 because I was having trouble reading my little portable original D&D omnibus to make up characters. And he's like, here you go, man, here, take these. And then insisted I keep them because apparently he buys these in bulk when he stops at Love's truck stops when he's driving around going to cons. So I ended up with this wonderful pair of reading glasses. And then I got a second pair in October of that year when I was in Alabama. They are University of Alabama themed. They have a little houndstooth sticker on them. But those are the ones I was looking for. I thought these were lost to the ages. So has CROM been updated to run Heretic? I don't know what that means, Damien, but if so if you don't know what CROM is, let me tell you a little bit about CROM. CROM is a wonderful piece of software. I need to get the latest version here real quick, so you guys bear with me a minute while I get it off of my. Actually, I may already have it. Let's see. Everyone should have the latest version of CROM. The only difference is no, good Lord, that is not the latest version. Let's see. No, that's definitely not it. The only difference with what's there has CROM been updated? Oh, yeah, no, unfortunately, it doesn't run on Doom. But who knows? Maybe some enterprising coder will make Doom run on CROM. Is there were some issues with item weights that I have addressed. There is nothing pressing with CROM that is like there's no bugs, but I'm gonna grab it real quick. I'm gonna get the latest version. Yeah, we're up to CROM version 1.5K for Kilo. Let's go ahead and download that, and then I will get it going for you guys here in a minute. And I'm going to show you what CROM can do. And maybe you're sighing, you're going, oh, it's just a commercial for CROM. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about, let's put this in downloads. I want to talk to you a little bit about what CROM is capable of. How do you acquire CROM? Well, I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad you asked that. But while I am, that's what I want. While I'm getting that set up, of course, if you would please, if you haven't done already, if you would please click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications to find out about when I am allegedly going to do these live streams. I say allegedly because I was terribly late this evening. I am, I hate to do this. I hate to put anyone on the spot. I told Jess, I was like, hey, you should stop by tonight. You should check out the stream. I hope she's still out there. So, but let me tell you a little bit about what CROM is now that we've got it up and running. And I'm going to let's see, let's do properties. Let's make that prettier. Let's terminal, and let's see, colors, screen text, and we'll do it a nice terminal green color. I kind of like that green better. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what CROM is, and what it can do for you. CROM is the Character Record Organization Manager software. It was written by yours truly, and it is the most feature complete character creator software for first edition advanced rules. There is nothing like it in the D&D sphere out there. Can I tell it to roll up a paladin? I sure can. I sure can. In fact, since you asked, that's what we'll do. That is what we will do. Now, there are probably the first application that you could ever get to create characters was the Dungeon Master's Assistant Volume 2 Characters and Treasures. And what Volume 2 would do for you is it would create a character, book legal, more or less, at a given level. But that was it. It would save it to a file called .chr. Back then, unless you really knew your way around your computer's disk operating system, the DOS wedge on the Commodore 64, DOS 3.3 for the Apple, MS-DOS, or Atari's DOS, unless you really knew your way around them, once you created those characters, you could print them out and you could do a little bit of on-screen editing, but that was it. That was it forever. CROM is so much more than that. There have been character editor programs that have come and gone, some of them embedded on the web, some of them as little standalone applets. There is nothing as feature rich as CROM, because CROM can create characters, save characters in HTML or text. You can add experience points to your character. You can milestone level your character. You can age your character. You can post ex facto change your stats, which will reflect on your character sheet. You can drain levels from your character and it will properly remove the correct amount of hit points. If you have a fighter who got 5, 8, and 7 hit points from first through third level and they get level drained once, it will take off 7 hit points. Exactly. It will drain precisely the hit die and the hit die score that they got hit with. You can buy equipment and it will configure your encumbrance. You can sell gems and jewelry, and per the player's handbook, it will deduct 20%. You can dual class humans. You can play any demi-human multi-class allowed. You can change alignment. And if you change alignment and you have an alignment specific class, like a paladin, like a monk, like a druid, it will knock you out of that class. You can take a dual class human, you can dual class from fighter into thief. And if you meet the requirements, you can dual class them into bard. And you can do the same thing with half elves, human and half elf bards. And if you meet the requirements, you can check to see if you'll get psionics. That was one of the recent bug fixes. Was I wasn't doing PEMDAS right, and I had a multiplier going on that was giving like 700 points for psionics when like it should like top out at like 340 psionic points, offense and defense both. It was going crazy. CROM is the most feature complete character editor ever created for first edition advanced. You will not find anything that beats it in terms of all that it can do. Output to HTML, output to text. We even did kind of an impromptu class, if you will, on how you can noodle around in the JSON file and change things in there. Yes. Not Who You Expected asks, what is that handle? It says, is there a limit to the number of characters you can have in a folder? Whatever Windows file limit is, divided by 3, or divided by 2, rather. If you're only saving as text, and let me explain that. CROM, to do record managing, does it saves characters as the file type you requested, but also saves a JSON file that it ingests. When you reload your character later to edit them, it doesn't pull in the text, it doesn't pull in the HTML, because you could go in and you could change things in those and it wouldn't know it from Adam. The JSON is structured in a way that it ingests. So basically, if you always save in text or you always save in HTML, it's always generating 2 files, the JSON and the text. But if you're like, I'm going to save it in text and I'm going to save it in HTML, it will generate 3 files, text, HTML, and JSON. So if Windows allows 10,000 files in a folder, and you insist on saving both character types, then you can have a maximum of 3,333 characters in your folder. But I don't know how many it has in there. Not Who You Expected asked, how do you acquire CROM? It is very easy. Reach out to me on social media. CROM costs $25 and I take payments via PayPal. You shoot me $25, I shoot you a copy of CROM. That entitles you to any updates, any bug fixes, any patches I do to CROM. I have been told, user TXG reports it runs great under Wine, under Linux. So if you're a Linux head, install Wine, CROM will run on it. There is a Macintosh version, note, not iOS, so not for your phone, not for your iPad, but there is a Mac OS version that is being worked on out there. I do not control the Mac team. They simply said, send us the Python code, and we will get this working on the Mac. And I said, okay. And I have every reason to trust them. They're awesome folks. So if you're interested in CROM, reach out to me on social media and I will get you a copy. So a question was made, can we make a paladin with this character? So let's do that. Let's do create character. By the way, can you guys see all of this text just fine? If you can't, I will change the font size. I will increase it so it's a little bit easier to read. You guys let me know if you can see that. Is there an Android emulator that allows it to run on an Android phone? So I actually have someone who asked about running this on a Chromebook, which of course is Google's laptop, and she has actually a very high-end example of the Chromebook back when they were stuffing an Intel i7 like 4790K and 16 gigs of RAM in it. You know, it was like the Cadillac, the Mercedes, the BMW of Chromebooks. And I was very excited to be able to, and I thought surely it's going to be an easy task. It requires some finagling and sideloading. I can't really take responsibility for people who want to try and sideload and install this onto Android devices. Also, this won't look good just on a mobile phone. It won't. I mean, if you turn your phone sideways and then you're doing an on-screen keyboard, it's going to take up most of what you see on the screen. It's going to be a tiny font. It defaults to white. I go in and I edit my font settings to green, but it defaults to white. So it's not going to be great on a phone. People have said, oh, you should make it for mobile devices. I wrote this a little, I would say like 5% of the reason why I did this was to teach myself more Python than I knew, which was a very tiny amount. I don't know how to set up a GUI over that, short of literally starting over. Like just clean sheet, start over with the same concepts and write it again. Monty Python, yes. If I could go back to end of last year, I think. Thank you, Gonzalo. Yes. Proper computers for proper people. Thank you very much for the super, Gonzalo. I really needed it. So, you know, if I could go back in time, once I got it written and got it doing everything I wanted to, I was like, cool. How do I plug this into a GUI? That's not how you do Python. There's Py widgets and everything, but you have to, no. So if I could go back in time and tell myself, hey, start with widgets in mind, I might be able to aim this at mobile devices. But the most mobile devices would be good for is if you could get this going on a tablet, like a big tablet, or if you could get this working on a Chromebook style laptop. Otherwise, it's just an x86 laptop. Hopefully, MacBooks soon. Hopefully, I got my fingers crossed. All right, so we have the 4 book methods of character creation. 4d6, drop lowest, 3d6 12 times, keep highest 6, 3d6 6 times for each stat, keep highest, and 3d6 for 12 sets, choose best set. So, and I also included a 5th one. Now, originally, this was for debug purposes, but I found that people actually liked manual entry as an option. And tonight, as we've had a request to create a paladin, Acid Reflow says green text and black background reminds me of TRS-80 from high school. Well, good. But as we've had a request for a paladin, we'll go ahead and do manual entry. Now, sometimes people ask, so what about such and such? What about so and so? Why is X not working? The instruction manual for how to do things in CROM is the player's handbook. I have a README, like how to set it up, and then a kind of example walkthrough of the text of the user interface. Joe says he'll utilize the manual entry. He doesn't trust computer randomness. There you go. Roll your dice at your table, write down your stats, and then manually put them into CROM. Then let it take over. But thank you again, Gonzalo, for the super. Where's my style at, man? Oh, there it is. It's still on the screen. Okay. But yeah, so basically you come in, and if you have questions like how come dwarves can't be illusionists? I thought that was a thing because my friend Bob back, in high school in 1987, he let dwarves be illusionists. Is that not book legal? No, it's not. It's not. So here we go. So we're going to do strength 14, intelligence 12, wisdom 17, dexterity 16, constitution 15, charisma 18. We have input our stats. Now it's asking for race. We want paladin. That means human. Racial advantages? None. Am I sure? Absolutely. Well, I think the proper answer to that question, not who you expected, is Osric compatible with 1E? Because if the answer is yes, then the answer to your question is yes. If the answer is no, then the answer to your question is no. The problem is not on my end or First Edition's end. It's that adapter between CROM and Osric, or CROM and AD&D that is Osric. I'm a pretty smart feller, not who you expected. All right. So I've selected human. Am I sure? Yes, I am. You know what? We're going to go with a female character because why not? And there are our options: cleric, druid, fighter, paladin, magic user, thief, and assassin. Obviously, we want paladin. So we're going to go over and we're going to select paladin. We're going to do 4 for paladin. Enter level for paladin. Now, since it wasn't specified, but I'd kind of like to show off some of the higher end features, let's go ahead and make this a 5th level paladin. And we have 4 proficiencies left to select. Now, the cool thing about buying weapon proficiencies is you can't accidentally pick the same proficiency twice because it removes the weapon that you're proficient in from the proficiency shopping list. So let's go into melee and let's do, well, I think two-handed sword is pretty much, that's like, you know, paladin standard. And you can now see two-handed sword is removed, but we also have other things. So let's go ahead and do a dagger. And let's see, let's back out. Let's get a pole arm. Now, what kind of pole arm are we going to get? A paladin? Well, I think our two pole arms we should get are spear and also we're going to get a light lance. Now, we have purchased all of our proficiencies, but even if we weren't sure at that point, we could hit D for done and then come back in later and get our proficiencies. Aren't there some more race class combinations in Osric than in 1E? In Core Osric, I don't think so, Jorge. I don't think so. By the way, folks, if you haven't already, please click the like button on this video. And if you're not already subscribed, click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications. All right, so let's shop. We have 130 gold pieces. Now, one thing when I set up CROM was that it drove home to me, because occasionally when I was testing, I would actually get some kick-ass characters. I'd be like, I actually kind of want to keep this 7th level, 6th level thief magic user. I kind of like this character. One thing that I found out really quick was, and this is some AD&D advice, whether you are using CROM or going pencil and paper, guys, buy your armor and your weapons in that order first. The other gear is all kind of cheap, but you could buy one torch too many and then turn around and you can't afford a sword. It's like, I guess I'll fight with a club because it costs nothing, even though I'll be fighting at -4 or whatever. That's right, Gonzalo. Gonzalo's character in the Monday night or Tuesday night AD&D live stream is a CROM creation. All right, so here we go. Let's buy armor. I think let's do scale mail. And let's get a small shield. And you can see we have 75 gold pieces remaining. Let's be done here. Now let's buy weapons. And let's go melee weapons. Let's get that two-handed sword. That's really going to cut into our budget. And a dagger. There's a little poignard there. Let's go to pole arms. Let's get a spear. And let's get a light lance. Now we have 36 gold to spend on everything else. Let's go back. And let's go back. Let's get some livestock. Let's get a light horse. Let's be done. Let's get tack and harness. And we're going to get a bit and bridle, harness, a saddle, and a saddle blanket. We are rapidly running out of money. So let's be D for done. Religious items, a wooden holy symbol. Well, let's at least get iron. Miscellaneous equipment and items. Let's do a backpack. Tinderbox. A large pouch. A couple of flasks of oil for throwing. And some torches. And we have 1.46 gold. And we're done. And we are done. Am I sure? Yes, I am. Check for psionics. We can check for psionics. Did not get psionics. Food, we can add a little bit of gold. We can get some food. I mean, remember, this is what, a 5th level character? The only alignment we can choose because they're paladin is lawful good. Name for your character? Well, let's see. How about Jess? Jess sounds good. Name for your character? Jess. 5th level paladin. Enter to continue. We're going to save as text file. Now, do you want to create another character? Yes, we do. So now you see we're back at the main menu. From here, we hit L to load a character. Available characters, Jess. And now we're at the character worksheet. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to show the character, or why I wanted to create a higher level character. First of all, you have the vital information. Name, class and level, race, gender, alignment, hit points, stats, coins remaining, encumbrance, fairly encumbered, 100 pounds of gear. Paladin abilities, detect evil, 60-foot range at will, requires concentration and direction. Saving throw bonus, +2 to all saving throws. Immunity to disease, always active. Lay on hands, 10 hit points a day. Protection from evil, 10-foot radius, always active. Turn undead, effective, cleric level 3. See turn undead section. Warhorse, heavy warhorse. That can be summoned. That is not presumed, by the way. And can summon that once every 10 years. So if the horse dies under them, that's it. Yeah, a girdle. If you've ever seen a weightlifter's belt, that is akin to a girdle. And then you see turn undead ability as a cleric 3 levels below them. Now here are our options. We can level up, add XP, drain level, change stats, new alignment, which would take them out of being a paladin. She would become a fighter. Add money, sell gems and jewelry, begin dual class, a tricky thing as a paladin. If we level up, we can buy a new weapons proficiency. We can purchase equipment as we get gold. We can age them, although you can see she's 21 and mature. We can save the character in a new format, or we can quit. Let's hit save because I want HTML. We're going to save as HTML without changing anything. And we're going to default that to Jess. Now, let me show you what the character sheet looks like. It's rather cool, guys. And here we are. Here's the HTML sheet. Show HP calculation. This will show the hit points for each level. With a constitution bonus of 1, we've gotten 8, 2, 4, 7, and 5. If Jess got level drained, she'd lose 5 hit points. Here's our saving throws. Petrification of Polymorph, Death Magic or Poison, Rod, Staff, Wand, Breath Weapon, and Spells. Paladin abilities right here. Turn Undead as Cleric level 3. Armor class is 3. That's 16 dex, really helps. Starting money was 130. That's the current money carried. And here's all of our stuff factored out with encumbrance. Movement rate is 6 inches. Alignment language is lawful good. You can pick 2 languages additionally for a total of 3 languages. Secondary skill, Navigator by Saltwater. No spells yet. What would the combat mechanic be for a fighter to shove a paladin into some attacking whites? I overbear. Overbear. We would use the overbearing rules in the Dungeon Master's Guide. That is what I would use. So that is CROM, and that is what CROM can do. And CROM is $25. You can hit me up on PayPal, and I will lay a copy of CROM on you. I will send you a download link. I really need to get something where people can just go and buy it. People can just download it and do like just like, oh, click here to pay, PayPal, beep, bang, boom, and it goes to you. I know it's super duper inconvenient the way it is. I really wanted to move a lot. I thought CROM would do better than it has, if I'm being completely honest. Is it the price point? Is it too much? The amount of work I put into it? Should I have just made it free? Hell, just giving you guys the source code to let you do what you want with it? I'm just teasing. I'm not going to do that. But there's something I wanted to share with you guys, and I don't have it in front of me. All my knees bent running about. I did not. I did not send myself this file, and I meant to over this PC. Is a man not entitled to the sweat on his keyboard? No, says the user on Twitter. You must give us the source code. No, says the man on the Dungeons and Dragons forum. Gary would want you to let us have the program for free. No, says the man at Wizards of the Coast. We don't like you supporting older editions. I chose a different route. I chose CROM. Well, if CROM would catch fire, more people would do it. I want to grab something off of that PC and talk to you guys about it because this is important. What software and hardware are required? Windows 10 or 11, probably 8, 8.1, 7, everything down to, but maybe not including Windows XP. I'll have to set up VMs. I really need to test this on environments. I'd like to see it get all the like, if I found out this ran under like Windows 2000, I would be giddy if I found out that this ran under Windows 2000. But yeah, it runs under current year Windows. John Carmack says give out the source code after sell. You know what? That is entirely reasonable. If I sell 5 million units, I will free the source code for CROM. I guarantee you that. If I sell 25 million units of CROM, I'm sorry, 5 million units of CROM, I will give out the source code for free. That is an entirely reasonable request. But let me do something real quick, guys. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I just got to step over here. All right, I'm back. I made a decision last night. I had said that I was going to do this eventually in not too long an amount of time. And I want to talk to you now about what I'm about to do. What I'm about to start doing is I'm about to start coding on a program called Aragorn. And let me just put this on the desktop real quick because I want to share this with you guys. Where is it? That's window. Aragorn, Advanced Record and Game Organized Referral Note Keeper. Aragorn will be for Dungeon Masters what CROM is for characters. Let me tell you what Aragorn will do. Aragorn will have a gem and jewelry evaluator. Aragorn will have a hiring hall for all types of non-player characters. Your party wants to hire a men-at-arms. This will handle all of that. How many did we get? Are they heavy foot? Are they light foot? How many of each? Yada, yada, yada. On down the line. Are they hobilars? Are they myrmidons? Are they led by sergeants, lieutenants, or captains? And what are those guys' stats? What are their individual personalities like? Your party seeks out the hiring of a sage. How weird is that sage stuff in the Dungeon Master's Guide to figure out on the fly? This will generate sages. How about hiring an alchemist? Aragorn will manage the hiring of alchemists. The personalities of all of these NPCs. Your party's going through a dungeon, you roll a random encounter, and it's a party. This will create the party for you. Now, if you want to fully stat out the party, then you go over to CROM. It doesn't auto start CROM. You'll still have to manually go in and do stuff in CROM. But you'll know right from the get-go. It'll stat gen them out for you. Is your party going into a hex that you haven't mapped? Random terrain generation. The random dungeon creator in the Dungeon Master's Guide, it'll feature that. The entire treasure type repository, which will be pulled into from a CSV file, so you can create your own treasure types. Monster database, same thing. CSV files. Random encounter creator for all dungeon levels. Random treasure generator. If you're just like, I want an instance of treasure type C, you'll be able to select that and it will generate it. It will include values for gemstones and jewelry, fully statted out magic items, as well as maps. And your maps, it'll gen those for you. Scrolls, you ever have that like, you found a scroll with 4 spells on it. What are they? This will do that. And again, it will generate all the XP. Monster encounter creator and checker for all terrain types. Your party is going to be journeying for 21 days across Greyhawk. Set the hex types. You will be able to set the hex types. Heavily patrolled plains, moderately patrolled plains, wilderness plains. Then the party goes into wilderness hills and they travel for 3 hexes of wilderness hills. Then they're in forest for 5 hexes. Then they're in marsh for 2 hexes. Then they're back to plains. Then they reach the next town. Aragorn will plot that journey out for you and let you know each hex what is encountered. Did they have an encounter? It'll check to see if it's a stronghold. If it is a stronghold, what kind of stronghold? Is it inhabited? Is it inhabited by monsters? Let's see. I mentioned NPC party creator. I don't know why I wrote that twice. Oh, did your party encounter a settlement in a hex? Was it a thorp of 5 people, or was it a city of 10 to 50,000? Aragorn will do that. Did your party have an encounter in the city? It'll check day and night, as often as you want it to, as your party roams around. During the day, they encountered a nobleman. During the night, a succubus, and stat each encounter. That is what Aragorn is going to do. And every type will be saved. Save it as HTML or save it as text and output as JSON. That is what's coming next. If you thought CROM changed the way that you manage characters for first edition advanced, this will change the way you run your game. Suddenly, all the drudgery is gone. Just a few key entries and hours of campaign world crafting becomes minutes, and you can focus on the parts of tabletop gaming that you love and that your players love. And because it'll do things like generate personalities, There you go. Dying Breed says one for the henchmen, NPCs and henchmen, the other for the other stuff. I really don't want to get into multiple separate programs. I mean, honestly, I should probably break this into little chunks of. That's kind of, I sort of screwed myself. I shot myself in the foot when I first started creating CROM before I even knew I was going to call it CROM, because I was like, yeah, okay, I've got a basic character generator. I wonder if I could write a module where you can level a character up. And I did. I spent a long time working on that and I got it fully working. And then I did, like, what about magic user creation? Like magic user spec. I wrote so many chunks of code and there was no way on God's green earth I could get them all to play together. I had to start over. I'd rather have this all where I can just have it working together. I appreciate what you're saying and I thank you for the input, but all the drudgery of campaign management, I'm probably going to add as part of the features. I'm probably going to add XP calculation for NPCs or custom monsters. Like how many XP should my my dragon, well, no, dragon turtle's a real thing. My turtle dragon, how many should it be? Well, okay, I put and it'll come back and say this many XP, boss. Now, let me tell you when this is coming out. I don't know. I don't know. Probably not in 2025. If man and woman can survive, if humanity is left alive. But Aragorn and CROM working together. I'm not even settled on Aragorn. I thought about Mitra or Conan as acronyms. That's right, Gonzalo. Very good. Gonzalo, trivia time. You got to answer this instantly. Who did They're Coming to Take Me Away, haha, and what was the B side of They're Coming to Take Me Away, haha? And by the way, that song is completely demented. Like, I mean, They're Coming to Take Me Away, haha, is it is a really creepy song. The 33 single. Oh, I can only imagine how that would have sounded if you had messed up and clipped that over to 45. Oh, it's a single, so I'll play it at 45. But anyway, the second program, if I stick with the name Aragorn, we'll just call it Aragorn for now. Because CROM didn't. Okay. Dying Breed tabletop. What is it? It's down the hall to the left. That's why you're raising your hand. They're coming to take me away. Ha ha. They're coming to take me away. Um, No, the B side of it, I'll tell you the B side. I'm not going to tell you the artist yet. The B side is the A side played backwards. I'm not saying, well, let me back up. There may have been a pressing of it that had fish heads on the B side, but originally the original release, the B side was the A side back. I can't imagine how terrifying that song would have sounded. I mean, it is not okay. That song. So are CROM and Aragorn to be like Simon and Garfunkel or Hall and Oates? I don't know. That's I would say they're going to be more like Jake and Elwood. They'll give you some lovin' every day. I actually saw Peter Noon perform during the Disney Food and Drink Festival out at Epcot, and we were just outside the band shell, so we weren't sitting down. But it's not like Disney can stop the music from playing, and they weren't going to roust people along from behind the barriers where we were standing room only, and it was a lot of fun. I held my daughter in my arm and we danced around. I'm Henry VIII. I remember buying records at Sears and Kmart too. I have my copy of Run DMC Raising Hell. I purchased that at the Kmart on Silver Star and Powers Drive in West Orange County, Florida. I still have that record. They're going to take me away by the time no. See, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why Aragorn is going to be a great program. Let me tell you why Aragorn is going to be a great little program. I am writing Aragorn in BASIC, beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction set, complete with line codes, or line numbers, rather. Why? You may ask why. Because I know what BASIC is and I know what it does. So much input I asked for on CROM, and I searched around, and I was just putting things in that I didn't understand. I just knew they worked. I don't know how a lot of CROM's internal logic works. I just know that it does work. It's kind of scary. Like, CROM is quite literally a million monkeys and a million typewriters writing for a million years, and the complete works of William Shakespeare came out. There is a version of BASIC. I think it's called GS Basic or something like that. Or is it Q64 Basic? I'll have to dig around. But it transpiles. What it does is, with its compiler, because you download it and it's a little IDE, its compiler will translate it to C and then compile the C into a runtime. I don't know how well it does or doesn't work, and I don't know if when I feed it Aragorn, it's going to choke and die or what. But it will be compiled and it will be right. You won't know. I mean, for all you guys, if I didn't tell you guys, what was Aragorn written in? Fourth? Algol, JCL, CA7, COMAL, assembly language, Logo, Visual C++, Pascal, Borland Turbo C, J+, you wouldn't know unless I told you. And Aragorn will be the same. You won't. It's like, basic. What are you doing? This isn't a first-person shooter or a flight simulator or a polygonal, yet still isometric game. It's not even. It's not even a. What are those god awful games everybody's doing? They call them role-playing games, but they're just those little things where you walk around and interact with other sprites, and you're depressed all the time. What's his name? Thor Hall, Jason Thor Hall has one where I guess it's he's copying some other game that came out that was real popular, and it looks like an old SNES game. This isn't even that. This is just text. Who provides the, I don't know, Gonzalo, who provides those rights? You'd have to tell me. So that is the big announcement tonight. Aragorn is going to start working. Maybe I can record a song called They're Coming to Take My Rights Away. The nice young lawyers in the clean dark suits, they're coming to take my rights away. They're coming to take my rights. I told them that I owned the song. Why won't they leave me alone? They're coming to take my rights away. Sorry. That's still brand new and it still fucking hurts. But yeah, you guys, I mean, the fact that it's written in BASIC, running underneath everything, I'll understand what I'm putting in the program. It will go faster because I'll know what's going on. If that's the one you messaged me, Gonzalo, yes, I did, and it is beautiful. Thank you for sending me that link. That was very, very pretty. So not what you expected. Briefly, yeah, Jorge. Oh, I may get slapped for this. In 2 years I'll get. UMG has claimed your song, yarda 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 blarda, because you sang it. Do you want to remove it? Thank you, Gonzalo. I appreciate that. I really do. But briefly, a number of years ago, Bards of Greyhawk provided this channel with the opening music to the show. I always said for a long time, I'm not going to do a proper opening until I have music, and I can't afford music, so there's no proper opening. And the Bards came to me and said, we'll compose a piece of music for you in exchange for you crediting us and you promote our stuff. And I always put links to their stuff in the comments or in the file description. And I had them on the show a number of times, and I've talked about how much I like their music. I got one of their CDs around here. You guys can't see it because I'm zoomed out. We're still looking at Aragorn. And then they put the song that they recorded for me, they put it on an album of theirs and published it. And the company they published it through, CD Baby, uses a CMS, content match system. which is a contextless AI that just combs through YouTube. Every video uploaded on YouTube, it just combs through YouTube. And if it finds a series of notes that matches something in their database, it notifies YouTube, and YouTube then either demons the video or splits the income share. Now, this happened to a bunch of my videos in 1 week. And so I reached out to the Bards and I said, hey, what's going on? And they provided me with a boilerplate message that I can send to CD Baby. They also reached out to CD Baby and said, hey, could you whitelist this song? And CD Baby says, we don't whitelist individual songs. Every time we hit him, he's going to have to file a counterclaim with us, and we'll decide. And they have 30 days to decide. This just started like 10 or 15 days ago. But because they don't and won't whitelist, and to be clear, CD Baby is not some mom and pop place where they're knocking out batches of 25 discs at a time. They are an organ of VMG, which is an organ of UMG, which is an organ of NBC. They absolutely will not do anything in my benefit. Just like if they had the Queen catalog and I was using 45 seconds of Gimme the Prize by Queen at the beginning of my videos, they would certainly not say, he's a good guy. It's, it's just a little D&D video. I think they're not going to fucking do that for me. So I'm getting hit on every video, which is a little over 1,200, 1,300 videos now that I've used Summer Mountains as my intro music on. As I said last night, as I've said in other nights, or not last night, but the Monday night, I make pennies per month on my videos. Pennies. The only thing that keeps me over the margin for YouTube is the fact that I have so many of them. I have so many videos out there. Oh, you made 5 cents advertising, but you've got 1,500 videos. The kick in the dick came when they claimed my interview that I did with Gary. I was not waiting for a month the monetization on that, because that video gets a lot of views. And I still make, as YouTube money goes versus everything else I've got, that video is a top earner still. So I just ripped it out. I just said, okay, identify the 45 seconds. It's there. Mute it. I didn't want to wait 30 days for CD Baby to decide or not decide. So the 20 or 30 videos that I've been hit with so far, and understand, go look at my YouTube channel, look at the number of live videos I have, and subtract maybe 300 from that number for the first year that I was co-streaming here on YouTube when I was back on Facebook. So yeah, that too, Gonzalo. That's like second. It's like Gygax and that video are like that. So yeah, I took that off immediately, and I might redo the Gygax video completely with a new intro or something like that, because we're coming up on Gary's birthday anyway. I'll be in Lake Geneva. So yes, Joe, they wanted revenue sharing. They basically wanted to split the revenue evenly. It's like, oh, you guys want a half a penny? Well, that all adds up. So if I'm making $100 a month on all of my video content out there on YouTube, that's $50 out of my pocket to them. Yes, 45 seconds, not who you expected. So going forward, I won't use the song. Like I can't ever use it again because I will have to fight. I will have to fight every time, even if on the back end they're either not responding to me or looking at the letter. The automated CMS is going to hit every song. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I'm going to have to do this 1,300 more fucking times. I'm not doing it going forward. So if you come in at the beginning of a video and you're watching the video and there's no music, you're like, hey, the Bill, it's muted, man. I can't hear it. It's not muted. There is no music, and there will never be music on it again. Not that I have to get from anyone. Not that I have to. And it's not the Bard's fault. No, Joe, I'm going to count, with the exception of the Gary video, I'm just going to counter every time it comes up. I'm just going to counterclaim. I'm just going to file a counterclaim. If they reject my counterclaim, then I'll start going through and I'll start hitting edit on every video until it's all gone. No, as far as I'm aware, not who you expected. And I have to talk to Bob Antone. I have to find out if Owlbear, in fact, belongs wholly and solely to me. Because God help me if he puts that into a CMS. But I think Bob told me that he just gave me Owlbear, that Owlbear belongs to me. Ishihei says, your dad's name is Ed. They named your older brother Ed as well. You just call him Second Ed. I like that. That does bring up something I was going to mention. Well, thank you, Joe. It's a great little song. So let's go ahead and remove that for now. Now that you guys are out there coding your own, trying to beat me to the punch. Better coders than me. You're out there developing it in like Visual C++ with a GUI to run on Windows 10 and 11 and 13. Thank you, Jorge. I really appreciate that, man. No comment, my friend. That's entirely okay. Yeah. I do appreciate it, Jorge. I genuinely do, brother. For the swear jar. Yes. Well, if it's for the swear jar, oh God, I don't know any swearing that would sound good. I don't know any good Spanish swears. Puta. Puta. I know that one. But so I got a little distracted tonight and I didn't get to dive in to second edition as much as I wanted to. But there's something I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, particularly if you're one of my kind of like fringe followers out there, because I know a lot of you folks I know a lot of well-meaning people started with 2E, or you just like it was just like, yeah, whatever, and then you transitioned over to playing 2E and you just freely blended the two. You didn't see that much of a difference back then. Good, Jorge. I will I will pay you in Chilean pesos and pick it up. Um but here's the I I remember looking through it. So I think a lot of people who think that there's no difference between first edition and second edition, uh, and I want to be careful because I don't want people to think that I'm throwing shade at you as a person, like I'm saying you're not as good of a person or whatever. See, Isha, AD&D is a larger world building game. There's world building stuff just running through the structure of the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Handbook and the Monster Manual. And when you get into deities and demigods, woo, boy. Savage Brewski, hello. Good to see you. But I think there are some people who are absolutely dedicated fans of 2E that think, like, you know, old school started in 1989. There was maybe Dungeons and Dragons before that, but I don't know what it was, and it was probably bad. I have had people tell me straight up D&D was better when Gary was gone from it. Well, Isha, hey, you say mechanically for classes, it opens things up a little. AD&D says when your classes can establish strongholds and what they have to do to establish those strongholds and who they'll attract and how much money that they'll make in tithes and income from those people. If you ask me, that's core world building right there. I don't know how you can say that that's not everything you need. And again, this is not directed at you, Ishahay. What I'm about to say is not directed at you. And I think 99% of people argue in good faith, but they say there's no rules difference between first edition and second edition. Well, yes, there is. Assassins and half orcs are gone. You can put those back in. Okay, well, where are the rules for helmets? You know, you have to buy a helmet separate from a suit of mail. Did you guys know that? Did you know if your character isn't wearing a helmet, that your overall armor class is really poor, and that 50% of the time an intelligent monster will strike at the uncovered head in melee? Monks are gone. Great old ones you point out, monks are gone. Hey, Wave of Mutilation. There's and is it Rusty Hulk? Is it because they switched up and there were hit point increases. There were hit point increases. And I know this because I looked at the Return to Against the Giants, the Liberation of Jeff, that came out in the mid 90s, that was written by Sean Reynolds and Monty Cook and a whole bunch of people who weren't Gary. I mean, you know, Reynolds was on record as he was attempting to fix the G series and that he never played it and that he hated Gary's take on the drow and drow weapon disintegration and so on and etc. No, magic users cannot utilize a helmet, Joe. So when I was looking through that, because it has G123 in it, well, they tarted it up for tarted, by the way, Tarted, tarted. They tarted it up for second edition, and now like Hill Giants have got 1d8 hit dice, but by the time you get up to the Fire Giants, well, they've got d12. And there's 4 dragons that appear in G1, 2, and 3. Well, 3.5. And they all have that hit dice. So if you're playing a 1E module strictly for 1E and there was no 2E translation of it, I mean, the hit dice are wrong. And some of the spell durations might be wrong. And some of the mechanics and saving throws might be wrong. Those have absolutely changed. I have a second edition Dungeon Master's Guide and Player's Handbook. And Ishahay, again, that is fine, brother. I am not bringing you like any grief. I am not throwing shade at your way. So there's hit point inflation. There's 2 classes and a race gone. Thieves are gone. Now they're rogues. It's like rogues and rogue types. There have been spell changes. And when you start talking about NWPs, non-weapons proficiencies, like, oh, let's have skills now. That is mechanically incompatible with first edition AD&D. That is thematically incompatible with first edition AD&D, because first edition AD&D is a it's a game of avatars. It's assumed you can make a cook fire or just catch a fish in a stream or swim across that stream and climb the tree on the other side. And for extreme cases, I mean, there's secondary skills, but they're the non-weapons proficiencies and stuff like that all bled over out of late first edition. And I know those things started in late first edition, added by Kim Mohan, not by Gary. I'm aware, Dying Breed. But those books, I mean, you can go listen to my interview with Gary. He felt the WSG and the DSG were second edition books. The game had changed considerably by that point. And before you guys think that I'm just piping sunshine up Gary's hinder and the great beyond, there was some stuff that he talked about for his second edition that I don't know that I would have liked for Gary's second edition. Like getting rid of evil alignments and getting rid of assassins, substituting them out with, I think, the Jester class. Don't know that I care for that. Collapsing the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Monster Manual into a single volume. I certainly don't like that. So I'm not saying Gary's vision would have been golden. I'm just saying that Gary's vision in those core 3 books was. And it is significantly different from second edition. Let's talk about Thaco for a minute. 2-hit armor class 0 is one single reference in the Dungeon Master's Guide. It is literally just a point of reference for you to anchor on. It's not a mechanic. It was never intended to be a mechanic. We have the charts. I use the charts. I don't use Thaco. When people say, I'd love to play first edition with you, my friends, but of course I cannot stand Thaco. I played second edition, you see, back when I was 5, and I didn't understand Thaco. I could never go back to Thaco. I'm the DM. I have a table. I'll tell you what you need to hit. Don't worry about it. Roll the dice. A 15, that hits. Next round, roll the dice. A 14, that missed. Well, I need at least a 15. And great old ones, exactly. There's no repeating 20s in the matrices, which show extraordinary luck and puissant skill at arms required to hit things. Now, I will take a correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think there's stuff like item saving throws, are there, in second edition? This is one of the things that I wish I'd had more time for instead of the stress this evening before the live stream. But okay, Ishay, thank you, Ishay. Thank you. You disarmed something there. We asked the Biden administration why there weren't item saving throws in second edition. They told us there were. We investigated. Yeah, exactly. Like a crushing blow. Like, you know, you take more than 30 points of damage from a boulder fall. I'm going to make your armor, like, I'm going to make a save versus crushing blow for all your armor. But it's in second edition. It's in second edition. So that's good to know, Ishahay, and I appreciate it. Giants and dragons are deadlier in 2e with more hit points and damage delivered. Yeah, I mean, and that's I'm sorry, who was that said that? Because I want to put that up on the screen. Rusty Hulk. You know, Rusty Hulk says Giants and dragons are deadlier in 2e with more hit points and more damage delivered. That's another case in point. Power curve. The power curve is way up. And I mean, I feel like tonally, and I know tone is something in here. It's not printed on the rules, but I really think rules wise, particularly if you look at TSR standards and practices and the types of modules that they were putting out there and what they were promulgating, is they were really pushing. They had gotten away from things like they'd gotten away from the Lankmar and Conan-esque feel of first edition into like romantic fantasy. You know, you look at the Stevie Nicks hair on every girl that Elmore painted, and I'm not dissing Elmore's painting. I love Larry Elmore's work. Clyde Caldwell, oh boy, he was not just making romantic fantasy drawings, boys and girls. If you don't follow Yo Dano over on Twitter, first follow him over on Twitter and tell him Greyhawk rules and Dragonlance rules for me. But also his late night Clyde Caldwell posts. Whew, yeah. Weapon specialization. Gary introduced weapon specialization in with Unearthed Arcana, which again I think is a very clear perforation. Like if you could snap off part of AD&D and just move it away. But yeah, nat 20. I got a nat 20. Oh, I got a message here. It went away. Let's see if I can pull that up. Okay, so yeah, there. Thank you. If that was you, Ishahay, who just hit me up on Discord with the thank you. I will check it out later. But again, okay, it's there. But there's ample mechanical differences. It's not just a tonal thing. I mean, You guys know that I know the first edition AD&D is where the black magic is, and that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. It is where the black magic is. First edition AD&D is the Dungeons and Dragons of poisons and assassins guilds and drow torture parlors and Tomb of Horrors and White Plume Mountain and Against the Giants. It's the AD&D with the blood dripping off of the swords and the naked chicks in the art. It's the AD&D with an Ifrit on the cover about to do fiercely horrible things to that trio of adventurers. It's the AD&D that was written in High Gygaxian. It's the AD&D that dares you to take a bite of the apple and see eternity. It's like Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. You know, they borrowed in drips and drabs here and there, and great swaths in other places. And does it bring all those elements together perfectly? Most of the time, yeah. Sometimes, no. But it is where the black magic is. And Tui, God bless Zeb Cook and the late Jim Ward and the other 20 people they had writing it, but it was a design by committee. Expurgate and ballardize to appeal to the blue hairs, and you can feel it. There's just something tonally different about it. AD&D is where the black magic is. And it reflects a lot in the rules, you know? I mean, there's no, you know, could I make some kind of periapt, like powder a gem and maybe drink it to cure this poison? Well, let's see. What kind of gem you got? Oh, you know, you got an opal. I'm looking here in the Dungeon Master's Guide, and it says, oh, possibly good for against poison. Sure, give it a try, you know. That's very true, Robert. Does sipping a potion allow? Yes. Yes. Gonzalo, with the earliest of computer adult. So I guess that's a lot of it, and that's a lot of it. And again, I was going to bring more Hellfire and Brimstone and back it up with facts, looking at the actual books. And one thing I can tell you is, why is the Dungeon Master's Guide like this thick and the Player's Handbook is like this thick? Okay. Why is the Dungeon Master's Guide thinner than the Player's Handbook? That's something else. That is not just tone. All right. That is a shift away from the Dungeon Master as master of the game. That's not philosophical, guys. If the rules aren't there for the Dungeon Master, then they're not in there. And that is rules. That is mechanics being removed from the Dungeon Master's Guide. And that is a mechanical difference. And if those mechanics are being taken out and they're being given to the player, then the Dungeon Master's Guide is no longer the master of his table. He's just sitting there. Yes, dear. What would you like to do? You stab the dragon? Well, you miss. I'm sorry. I meant you hit. You hit. You win the dragon lance. And I just feel like when you do that, when you start taking those rules and ruling systems out of the Dungeon Master's hands, man, that is a shift. That is a big mechanical shift. And I mean, the worst set of fetters they ever put on. We're talking about second edition. We're talking about second edition, but holy God, one of the biggest insults I have ever said. Just like it's like Ryan Dancy and Monty Cook and the rest of them just collectively pried open the eyelids of DMs old who ran their tables as their domains, and new DMs just getting started and spit right in their eye with challenge rating. That is the biggest set of fetters, the most malicious, jagged, heavy, needless, encumbering, restricting pieces of iron ever clapped on the hands of a DM was challenge rating. But that's for another time. There were linear feet. There were linear feet of 2E splat books. Because I remember seeing them on shelves. There were like 4 books of magic that was like all spells from everything. And then there were the kit books for every class. No, they were in churn mode. There was a point at which TSR was making more money publishing Dragonlance and Forgotten Realms books than they were RPG books. But part of the reason was because they were spending as close to $0 as was humanly possible getting the RPG stuff going. Right now, without going to your shelves, name a module, not Dragonlance and not Forgotten Realms. Name a module from 2E that you can name the cover artist and the author of the module. It's tough. It's tough. There were 1 or 2 things I remember, and like honestly, I could kick myself for not buying it just because it was stupid, but I thought it was hilarious. Was the Ithiliad, and the other one was I Tyrant, the book about beholders. The Ithiliad, which was about mind flayers, and I Tyrant, which was about beholders, because I Tyrant had arguably one of the most stupid pieces of D&D. Like, I thought it was parody, but they actually wrote this thing up with a straight face. There's a beholder sitting on top of a suit of armor, like the gorget is slightly flared out and it's sitting on top of it, and it's like got a shield in one hand and a sword in the other, and it's clanging towards the viewer. Hey, Doc Flamingo. But the thing about it is a beholder is 6 feet across. This wasn't a giant size suit of armor, so it looked like a head. So, you'd be facing something like the size of a hill giant or larger, which would actually be kind of cool and terrifying. Now, this is just a person-sized suit of armor. So it's this giant ball on top of a man-sized suit of armor that the beholder's animating and clanking forward. It is the most idiotic drawing. Dave Trampier, any of the Giants, Village of Hamlet. The original Tomb of Horrors, Dave Sutherland. Oh, and Village of Hamlet and the Giants modules, all by Gary. Yeah, it was like a Mad Balls action figure, Damien. So they are mechanically different rule sets. They are, and I'm not gonna. I hate to say it. I hate to sound grumpy about it. I'm not going to give ground on that. They're not the same. They're the same game, Bill. You might have played them the same, and you just kind of just rolled with it. But I once got accused back in the early 2000s that I had never played first edition AD&D, and that nobody back in the 80s had actually played first edition. What people actually played was basic D&D, but they had the AD&D books on the table because they were cool. We all liked the bare-tittied succubus in the back of the Dungeon Master's Guide, and of course, Inanna in the deities and demigods. We all thought that was cool, but we really played basic D&D because we also had basic D&D sets. And one, I don't think that's true because we played first edition pretty hardcore. But I do wonder if there's a little bit of truth to the notion that a lot of the people who say, oh, no, they're the same, they just kept playing first edition and bought 2 ebooks because they were new, but just kept playing with the first, like, oh, we have a first, second edition Dungeon Master Guide. Everybody's got a second edition player's handbook, but your brains still go first edition and you still do first edition stuff, even though you own the second edition things, and you unconsciously translate those things to first edition, the second edition things to first edition. So, hey, don't knock it till you tried it, Wave of Mutilation. Unfortunately, by the time Mad Balls rolled around, that is absolutely something Gary would have been like, hell yes, that. TSR was leaning so hard into, we're just a books publishing company. They did get some cool stuff out at the time. The Shadows over Mystara, they were Capcom CPS2 fighting games, but they had a veneer of Dungeons and Dragons, including experience points and leveling up and potions and magic items and spells and everything else. I don't know why you said Dave. This is all to say that I'm running an open first. Well, you loved it to pieces, Ptolemachus. Yeah, all kids are like that, Ishahay. All children are like that. Our IQ drops a few points. Now, my wife, okay, this is not me being a chauvinist pig. My wife told me she was reading a book when she was pregnant with our first daughter, and she was like, did you know my IQ is going to go down by like 15 points in the third trimester? I was like, no. And she said, yeah, it's like a neurochemical change. And I was like, wow. And even after our first daughter was more, she's like, I don't know that it went back up. By the way, Gonzalo, I was listening to some Cramps today, Bikini Girls with Machine Guns. I was like, I bet Gonzalo likes the Cramps. Does 1E have more third-party material versus 2? No, I don't think it does. Not who you expected. Really, the only third-party material I can think of for 1E was put out by Rolaids. Well, ICE put out their Roll AIDS series, and then there was some stuff from Judges Guild. But you have to understand the Blooms were very lawsuit crazy, and Gary did not care much for third party stuff at all. Gary was very cranky about third party publishers. Well, I've been a drag racer on LSD. I've even rode bare ass on top of the Sphinx. During second edition, TSR became their own third party publisher. Yeah. Yeah. Now, this was, let me tell you something very interesting. Any Zevon, any Zevon. Most people go to Werewolves of London, which is a fine song. But let me tell you what, my favorite Zevon songs in order are there was an acoustic version of Things to Do in Denver When You Die that I absolutely adore. Lawyers, Guns, and Money, Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner, and then Werewolves of London. I love Lawyers, Guns, and Money. What a story that song is. What an incredible story Lawyers, Guns, and Money is. It's so bitterly and cynically fun. Capcom D&D game is a rabbit hole. The TS our guy had sent it, who all played Sword World, which is based on Beckme. That's right. That is a fun rabbit hole. I will pick on David Letterman for a lot of things, but he was good friends with Warren Zevon, and Zevon would show up on Letterman a lot. And I was not old enough to appreciate Warren Zevon when he would start making appearances, but when he was diagnosed with thoracic cancer and was not going to make it, one of the last things he said to David Letterman, and it was, Letterman laughed, and it was one of the few times I ever saw David Letterman like get emotional and start to cry, was he said, is there anything you could say? Any is there anything you could say and about, and Warren Zevon thought about it for a second, and he said, enjoy every sandwich. And what a moment. What a great moment. Enjoy every sandwich. I hope I'm that glib when I'm facing the Grim Reaper. I don't think we're ever going to see that campaign setting played again. I think if you could have warranties, like, look, in 9 years, this is going to be a really bad idea. Can you maybe change this to like 1001 Arabian Nights? Nobody owns the name Aladdin. But anyway, thank you for guys for listening to me ramble about second edition, because guys, it is structurally different. It is, as to me, it is as different from first edition AD&D as original D&D and all of the supplements is from first edition AD&D. They're They are shades of a color. And just like this is red on my shirt here, it's not the same red as this Akira sticker, and it's not the same red that you see going down at the bottom there. I'm not saying it's not AD&D. Or rather, I'm not saying it's not Dungeons and Dragons. To me, the tone highlights the mechanical differences, and the mechanical differences are big enough. And that's something I don't like. But thank you for mentioning that. All that said, would I be a player if someone was DMing it and invited you? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, seeing me get to play, if someone was DMing 1E, a buddy of mine, God rest his soul. I did like Scott a lot. He was a good guy. Scott could be a very good guy. Scott offered to take everything. He could see I was getting DM burnout one year, and he was like, "Why don't you let me run it?" I was like, "Okay, all right, you can do it." And he literally went to AD&D books on the table, but he's running basic D&D. We're just doing it this way. Basic does it this way. And like giving us milestone levels and stuff like that. And I just, man, I did not feel that. I will say this, my Monday night game and the Tuesday night live stream game that we do here, haven't felt a bit of it. Haven't felt a bit of DM burnout. Even if I got to the point where I was like, show's wearing on me, guys, I'm switching to this, you know, like a Thursday only live stream or something like that. I'm not doing that, by the way. That's not happening. I would run that game on Tuesday nights. Oh, I just got copyright matched for Lawyers, Guns, and Money. I'll be demonned on this video, so you guys, you need to throw super chats. One thing that I like, though, and I was talking, I kind of posted this over on Twitter that 1E was definitely the tonic for people who like D&D but are tired of 5E, and some people are like, nah, second, man, second is where it gets good, you know. No, that's not the case. But 1E can be really quite liberating if all you've ever known is 5E. Really liberating. Not who you expected. I used to know the answer to that because I would listen to Def Leppard, but then I developed an allergy to gluten, globin. But yeah, I'm not burned on that. My Monday night game, 11 years. 11 years this, well, right now. I go by when I registered for Roll20, because I started using Roll20 because we were all remote and we needed a system to play together, the players that I had gathered together. And it was July of 2014. Thank you, Ishahay. I'm glad somebody got that. Oh, I thought it was a Def Leppard reference. But then I would say Def Leppard probably got it from Highlander. Um, I got to play the forest or no, I don't. I don't gotta. How many unique player characters have there been? Oh my gosh, dude. That let's see. Kyle, my co-host, played with us sometime. Ben Pois, if you guys know him, he did the Hobby Shop Dungeon project with Ernie Gygax. Ben Pois played with us for a while. Uh, Another buddy of mine, David, played with us. Crazy Hermit played with us. One person who started with us back then, she still plays with us. She is the grand mistress of that game in terms of veteran status. But Tracy Lesh plays with us. But as far as characters, we had one guy go all the way through a bard arc. 5th level fighter, switched to thief, became a bard, made 8th level, had to leave the game, had his character go out in a blaze of glory. Literally went out in a blaze of glory. Um, we've had monks. We had a woman who played with us for 10 minutes. She was doing a magnificent job role playing. Someone, her boyfriend, I don't know who, came in and started berating her over voice. And then, like, or not berating her over voice, berating her, and we could hear over her voice. And we're like, is everything okay? And she said, she typed in the Discord chat, I'm just going to be text. And like she never responded to roll dice or anything, requests or anything after that, and then she was gone. Well, it wasn't us. Have you tried to get as a guest that Canadian who has had the 40-year ongoing game? No, I haven't. Not who you expected. I know about that guy. And I think it's awesome, by the way. That is not like no. I haven't reached out to him. I presume he's too busy gaming. Yeah, I felt really bad. I think she had some life. I know she wanted to come back, but I know she was also having some other issues going on. I've had on the Monday night game as many as 15. And going down the line, that was the 10 that I have now. And then Jeremy, him, and yeah, I had 5 people, but that did not last long. That was only a few weeks because 2 of the people who played, and they were friends of mine, were like, this is a lot. You have a lot going on, and it is tough for us to keep up. so they politely stepped away from the table, and then basically we were down to 12 because the third of that last group of 3 that joined, I think, was also overwhelmed. So again, as many as 15. But right now it clocks in at 10. I wish I could get it back up to 12, but one guy is like a very high-end executive, and the other dude just has life stuff going on, so I don't think they'll be rejoining us. So we're just 10 right now. Lord Gosamba, why does that feel like he has been on my channel, like in the audience before? I feel like I've seen his name. It's he his kids are out for school break. I say summer vacation, but it is the deep dark winter down there where you guys are, Wave. So I always thought we got a little bit robbed in the Road Warrior, because the Lord Humongous was originally supposed to have been Jim Goose. It was going to have been Jim Goose, and I the reason he wore the hockey mask was because he got burned up by Toe Cutter's gang, but he recovered before society fell. And the reason his gang was so well regimented was because he was an ex-police officer with a military background, and there was going to be like this showdown between him and Max having taken, you know, not necessarily the side of law and order, but still protecting the innocent, and Jim having felt that the world had failed him and, you know, doing his thing. But it would only work if you'd seen Mad Max and you knew who Jim Goose was. But I would have appreciated the continuity. Are there any official 1E Australian animals and monsters? Not that I know of. I will tell you this: there is a fantastic supplement for good Call of Cthulhu. Basically everything up to 5th edition, called, or maybe 6th, called Terror Australis. But I don't think there were any official Australian 1E Australian animals and monsters. No. Now I'm scrolling back through to see if there are any clues through here. Okay, see, it's not Kyle, because Kyle's not a collector. Kyle Schumont, Kyle the Viking Hat GM, would never say that. Gently pats face back. So sorry about that, mate. Let's just put that back. Just, yeah, we'll just stick. Mythical Monsters from Patagonia book a few hours ago. We plan to use those bad boys somehow. Excellent. Anyway. Well, guys, I think that just about does it for me for tonight. Tomorrow night is kind of open too. So I don't know. I don't know what we'll do. I'm supposed to have a repairman here fixing my washing machine tomorrow, so I'm not sure how much prep time for show I will have. But go and see Superman with you. Oh, I wish I could. Thank you guys all very much for hanging out with me tonight. I had a lot of fun. I want to thank Gonzalo and Jorge for the super chats. I really do appreciate it, everyone. I will be back tomorrow. We will find something fun to do. Maybe I will try to be less abrasive towards second edition. Maybe I will find facts to back up more of my second edition rantings. Who knows? Who knows? But we'll see. Until then, guys, I don't know if these things actually exist in Australia. But one thing I can tell you for sure is if there was a country where they were going to exist, Australia is where you would find owl bears. Peace. Good night. Love you all.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.